Actually, you know what? Fine. We'll check it out now. See what's going on. I'm too curious.
Two of the largest bank failures in history happened this week. But before we talk about why, I have a question. Why is Jim Cramer so good at being so bad?
True.
At his job? Just months before they both collapsed, he said this.
These are never, ever talked about. Why? Because it's too boring? I like to make money. Boring is good. Watch out for Signature Bank. That's my fave. SBB.
So, I don't know if Coffeezilla is going to touch on it, but this is very serendipitous. I was just reading about Jim Cramer. There's also something called the Inverse Cramer Fund, I think is the official name, where it's a portfolio where you invest the opposite of everything Jim Cramer preaches, and it's actually far better than if you followed his advice. But interestingly enough, Jim Cramer is one of the biggest shills in American history, from everything I've read. What happens is he is literally paid for like a little fucking puppet, like a little fleshlight. People use him, the very elite. They pay him to promote stocks that are about to fail. So this is why you'll always see him preaching about something just like a month or two before it collapses. So he'll start preaching about it, get people to buy into it, so that way those shareholders can sell at the highest peak right before the collapse. I actually read quite a bit about Jim Cramer. That's like one of the leading theories. He is a massive con man. Just like a true and blue con man. It's wild. I can't believe he's been on the air for as long as he has. That's the leading theory, at least. Allegedly. I'll throw in allegedly just in case Jim happens to be watching. There's the Prime Bank, Kyrule, and the resub Bubblegum Kitty, D-Man, the Prime Trisket. I don't know what that is, Habram, but maybe. And the bit Sunny and Velocity. Well, it's more than that, though. Like, he is an absolute rat. Jim Cramer is a fucking rat. He is just a shill. He gets paid to promote shit stocks so that way it can pump just a little bit before a collapse of investors or shareholders can get out without losing their ass on it. From everything I've read, at least. All of the allegations. That seems to be the leading theory. That's wild, because I was actually just reading about this a couple days ago. This is the resub Jesse, Poof, Churro, Muffin, and Tier 1. Inkiris, and the bits Bobby, Snurt, and the resub JD, and Ninja.
Financial, don't you want? This company's a merchant bank with a deposit base that Wall Street had been mistakenly concerned about. This morning we witnessed the second largest bank failure in American history, which naturally created a wave of fear as the day went on. Hence the Dow ultimately losing 345 points, S&P falling 1.45%, and the Nasdaq tumbling 1.6%.
Is he drunk?
Now I have to admit,
he's really simmered down over the years. He used to be like really coked out, but the last 5 or 6 clips I've watched of him over the last month or so, he seems so fucking out of it. Like he's perpetually in this drunken stupor on his show.
He has a way with sound effects. Now I understand why they call it Mad Money. But there is one thing Jim Cramer isn't wrong about, which I know is shocking. Fear is in the air, and many are worrying, is my bank safe?
Your mom
so
don't
today
count.
I thought we'd break it all
Lord
down,
and Tier 1
the
Jesse.
recent collapses, why the government has announced a special bailout,
like
why some people are happy with it and others are mad, and, of course, what's next. Let's start with the facts. 3 major banks in the United States have failed in a short period of time. Silvergate, Signature Bank, and Silicon Valley Bank. Now, Silvergate was the smallest with about $11 billion in assets. Signature was like the mid-sized one, and Silicon Valley Bank was the
SVB
largest.
was a big boy.
Now, Silvergate and Signature
SVB
Bank
went big.
were well known in the crypto space, while Silicon Valley Bank was massive in the tech startup world. However, despite their differences, these banks failed for similar reasons at a high level, which is this. They all experienced a run on the banks when too many people demand too much money too fast, and the banks don't have cash on hand. Now, I want to make something clear. It would be easy to draw the comparison to the crypto crash in 2022 when several crypto companies like FTX collapsed, but there's an important difference. Companies like FTX were insolvent. When there was a run on their banks, they had no money to give. Whereas the banks we're talking about were illiquid, meaning they had the money, but when they had the bank run, some of it was locked up in long-term assets like bonds. Now, to be clear...
Oh yeah, SVB was big in bonds, right? That was one of the principal things. I think SVB was huge on bonds. I think should Floppy and Lucifer and Ron. I don't know about Signature and Silvergate, but I know SVB in particular was like a big bond one in the Bits Hero.
Not the same things
Welcome, Ducky.
at all. But things can get a little fuzzy in the details. For example, when a bank run happens, what can start as a liquidity problem can become an insolvency problem if the bank has to sell what they have for cash. And let me explain. One of the safest investments is considered to be treasury bonds. Your grandparents probably invest in it. Banks invest in them, both for the same reason.
My grandparents
provide
did,
a stable
for sure.
rate of return. So say your Signature Bank, right? You've got billions of dollars in customer assets. Where do you put it? Well, into treasury bonds, which let's say earn you 1% a year. You keep some cash on hand for withdrawals, but you figure, look, if I need to sell these, I can sell my bonds, right? But what happens if interest rates rise really quickly? Well, suddenly you have this 5-year bond you bought a year ago, which gives you 1% a year. But now the government is selling the same 5-year bond and offering 5%. Because of that, now your bond's value on the open market drops. It's no longer even worth what you paid for it because it's giving less interest than other bonds. And so if you try to sell that, well, now you lose money. Now, to be clear, if you held the bond to maturity, well, you would still make that 1% and not lose anything. But when depositors are asking for cash, it's simply not an option to hold on.
Yeah,
now, I know that seems complicated, but the essence of it is this. Banks were forced to sell long-term assets that they didn't want to sell, like bonds, and they took losses because of these bank runs. Because of that, what started as a liquidity crisis became an insolvency crisis, and that's why they got shut down, because they weren't going to be able to service all those withdrawals. So now what, right? Doesn't the government guarantee bank deposits? Why are we even talking about this? Well,
thanks for some Jumbo, Spooky, and Woody.
The FDIC
Tony,
insures up to $250,000 per account. However, at places like Silicon Valley Bank, they had a lot of accounts with a lot more than that. Because as we spoke of, they hosted a lot of venture capital startups that might have had...
God damn, that's right. This was Roku. Roku got blasted. Not super familiar with Circle, but Jesus Christ. Even Roblox. Goodness.
Anywhere from $10 to $50 million in there. And suddenly, that company, which was healthy yesterday, now can't get access to that money. And
only FDIC insured up to $250K. Yikes.
And this triggered a huge response from many in Silicon Valley to call for depositors to have their money guaranteed, with people like Jason Calacanis saying, you should be absolutely terrified right now. That is the proper reaction to a bank run and contagion. Guarantee all deposits up to $10 million or this will spiral into chaos. And comments like this sparked a huge debate on whether the government should or would get involved. Ultimately, with the answer coming on Sunday when the U.S. Treasury said this, quote, depositors will have access to all of their money. And there you have it. The U.S. government is stepping in to save not only Silicon Valley Bank, but also Signature Bank as well. They did this citing a systemic risk exception, which really boils down to a single idea. Please don't panic, guys. Please don't take out your money. Ultimately, the U.S. government doesn't want you worried about your bank deposits. However, not everyone saw this as a win. Many were quick to point out that, once again, the government only seems to step in to help a certain type of person. Quote, Mark Cuban, bail out Silicon Valley Bank tonight. Feds, approved. Goldman Sachs needs $824 billion. Approved. JP Morgan Chase needs $416 billion. Approved. Average Joe, my wife has cancer. Can we get Medicare? We're broke. Now, I do have to tell you that those in favor of the Fed's actions will tell you that this is an unfair characterization, that it's not the super rich getting bailed out. They'll point out that this isn't a traditional bailout at all because it only applies to the depositors and that executives and shareholders will get nothing. And that sounds good, except for the fact that some executives and shareholders in Silicon Valley Bank had already cashed out, with Greg Becker, the CEO, selling $3.6 million worth of his shares right before their collapse. And
That's not
this
suspicious.
gets even worse when you consider that
Totally
Greg
normal.
Becker was one of the people who lobbied to deregulate his own bank. According to Heather Landy of Quartz, quote, "The ability of these banks to fly under the radar in the U.S. was no accident. Greg Becker, SVB's CEO, lobbied U.S. officials several years ago to raise the asset threshold at which banks would be considered systemically important." So let's get this straight. They faced less regulatory scrutiny because they weren't systemically important, according to them, but when everything goes wrong, they're systemically risky and must be bailed out. It's a classic case of wanting it both ways. Now, again, this isn't the same as the full bailouts we saw in 2008. And regardless of whether you land on whether there should have been or should not have been a bailout, the idea that systemically risky banks should get special treatment and regular banks, I guess, don't, sends a pretty clear signal. If you're rich, you should move your money into banks that are too big to fail. Otherwise, you run a systemic risk of ending up on Jim Cramer, feeling like this.
Jesus Christ. Well, that was a really succinct breakdown of it. Nice. Yeah, so bank run. Across the board then, eh? I really think Rolls-Royces are just an actual scam, too. That doesn't even look cool. I'm sure inside's like luxurious and whatever, but if you're gonna spend millions on a car, why not have that shit be like the Batmobile? So I'm not gonna be like personally invested in the guy, but I'd love to see shit like this from Coffee.
This YouTuber made $12 million by secretly pumping and dumping crypto, and no one caught him until now. In public, he says irresponsible sellers should be hit by a bus. Yet behind the scenes, he's been relentlessly selling the cryptocurrency SafeMoon to his gullible followers. In recent months, he's used his new wealth to buy a Rolls Royce. He's now flying private jets, and he's bragging about literally eating meals made of gold.
Oh, Jesus, I recognize this immediately. This is from that restaurant that, what was his name, Salt Bay works at. The guy who does this, and it's all he does. This restaurant looks like shit. This is actually all it is. They bring out this steak that's covered in what's probably not even edible gold. They probably just skimp on it and just buy sheets from Michael's, like the local arts and crafts store. And then he cuts it. He does his signature salt thing, which is all he's had for 3 years now. And it's like $1,000-something for this. No, it's more than that for the steak. It's crazy. It blows my mind that people go there. It actually blows my mind. More like 7 years? No way, it's been that long. Has it actually been that long? Oh, Jesus Christ. Man, time is flying. Exit Tier 1 Riley and the Resub Osterol and Aves.
Literally eating meals made of gold. Now, if you're wondering what is paying for these luxuries and look online for answers, currently all you'll see is a rag to riches story about how this YouTuber went from being homeless to making millions of dollars because of sick pranks he uploaded to YouTube. However, financial records show a different story, and no one would have found out about this had it not been for one individual who tipped me off.
My name is Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
I have some interesting information about one of the promoters behind SafeMoon.
So to back up a second, I've been talking to a lot of people about my SafeMoon investigation, and at one point, I held an open room where anyone could come in and talk about their experiences, be it positive or negative.
What comes to mind when you say SafeMoon, I think scam, and I think pump and dump.
To me, I see it as a long-term hold. I've seen a lot of people get into it, kind of YOLO all their money in. Just bullshit.
And everything was going normally until the unexpected happened. This guy joined. He's a YouTuber named Sizan, and he's about to make a very serious accusation.
One of the promoters of SafeMoon was dumping SafeMoon while obviously saying, "Oh, I'm holding to the moon, guys." And while he was was unloading literally millions of dollars with SafeMoon.
Wait a second, that could be criminal. What is this influencer's name?
Ben Phillips UK is his Twitter account.
I've never heard of that guy.
Ben Phillips is a famous UK YouTuber. He runs a prank channel. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter. Who the fuck is this guy? And most importantly, he was involved with SafeMoon since March 25th, 2021.
Let me take a peek. Hold on, Ben. This was a great promotion for your channel, I guess. Now I can't wait to see
this YouTuber made 12...
Let's see. Do we have any Ben Phillips fans in here? You guys have a cool name? Like Benny Boys or something cool? Alright. Mole hole explosive backfires prank.
What do you mean more? Oh shit!
I just got transported back to 2013.
Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Benflip's Pranks with another Benflip's Pranks. And I know a lot of you are saying, what the hell, there's a new prank! Yes, I'm thinking the same thing too, but listen.
Jesus, this guy's like the James Corden of YouTube.
30. Yes.
Holy shit.
Your childhood hero is turning 30. You're like 50. Anyway, like I was saying, we're doing a prank today, the mole hole prank. And you might remember Elliot Giles back in the day as the mole hole blowhole hero. He came and he got rid of the moles.
So this is clearly for kids. Who is he scamming? Do children get into cryptocurrency? There's no way adults are watching this, right? That wouldn't make any fucking sense. Do 12-year-olds actually get into crypto? He wasn't my hero, but I watched them as a child. Well, yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's geared towards kids. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, how is he scamming people? I guess maybe I'm just too old to grasp the concept that kids are investing in crypto. I don't know, that's kind of strange to me. Thank you for the anonymous 5 gift subs, man. I appreciate it. And the 5 gift subs, Zeb. Thank you, Zeb, and Anonymous, and Prime Jez, and Jedha. And the Bits Nebula. No, I've already got the videos for tonight. See the prank.
Why are you drinking on the job, Al? I said, huh? I'm wondering why you're taking until 7 o'clock at night to finish this mole job.
You don't realise that there's a big Christmas tree in the middle of your field. I'm going to go tow it out. Do you know why I know it's a storm? Not a storm? Because the branch at the bottom is twisted. And do you know what happens when moles, when they sleep?
What?
They twist trees.
Okay, well, thanks, Bear Grylls. Alright, so what happened?
As part of their marketing team.
My name's Ben Phillips. If you haven't seen me, I'm actually a YouTuber. I think it's absolutely incredible, you know, what's going on with the community themselves, being just like picked up on my Twitter and being like, yeah, safe moon, let's go.
So this is the guy being accused of a pump and dump scheme. But how do we know if this is true? Well, if you look today at Ben Phillips' Twitter account for answers, you won't find much. Most of his statements have been deleted, and that's for good reason. Because in one of them, Ben Phillips does what you should never do if you pump and dump crypto. He leaked his wallet. Quote, if anyone wants to buy me Starbucks today, this is my B&B address. Now, many of you have watched this show long enough to know what a huge admission this is and how this can be used to find out everything Ben was doing with SafeMoon. And the first thing we find is that he was definitely being paid for his role in promoting SafeMoon. The day he joins the team, the 25th of March, he starts getting paid in SafeMoon by the deployer wallet. He ends up getting paid
325 billion that they just showed?
SafeMoon tokens
for
his services. But what was interesting was not when he got SafeMoon, but when he decided to sell it. We can check this using archived tweets from Ben Phillips' Twitter account, and we cross-reference that with the blockchain
and the
to see his financial activity at the same time.
The bits
and here's what we found. A pattern of pumping and dumping SafeMoon, with, on the one hand, positive tweets about SafeMoon, while at the same time, Ben Phillips would be dumping the coins for a large profit onto the same people who rushed in to buy based on his tweets. For example, Ben Phillips tweeted, "Holy shit, Doge new all-time high, and now SafeMoon on its way to hitting new all-time high tonight? Who's glad they holding?"
What else is he... Hold on, before we continue. What's he tweeting now? I imagine this video isn't going to be like an easy thing for him to dismiss away. So what's he saying right now? Alright, his newest tweet. Welcome to the family, Trippy Toad NFTs. Alright, can't wait to get on that one. Amazing. It never stops with the crypto bros. And it's literally exactly what you'd expect. It's just Bored Apes, but with frogs. Amazing. He's on the grind. Let's go, Ben.
Not financial advice. That very same day, Ben sold $44,000. And these dumps escalate as we go further into April. On the 20th, he tweeted, "Diamond hands always win," and then tweeted again, "Fire sale." That same day, he sold 3 times for over $1 million.
Ooh.
The next day, while tweeting about an all-time high, he said, "I feel bad for everyone who sold again." His next tweet, "I feel bad for everyone who sold." And then this, "Well, I'm holding." That same day, he sold 3 times again for over $500,000.
That's fucking wild.
These are clear pump and dumps. If he really thought there was a fire sale on SafeMoon, why sell $1 million of it? And why would you sell $500,000 of SafeMoon right after you say, "Well, I'm holding"? The reason is obvious. He wanted the price to be as high as possible when he sold. And once Ben Phillips started making millions of dollars in such a short period of time, what does he do with that money? He starts spending it on stupid luxury items and bragging about it on Instagram. Of course. For example, on May 21st, a month after making millions from pump and dumps, Ben Phillips suddenly buys his dream car.
God,
a quote, making millions.
I really think Rolls Royce is just an actual scam too. That doesn't even look cool. I'm sure inside's like luxurious and whatever, but if you're gonna spend millions on a car, why not have it should be like the Batmobile? This just looks like there's something that someone's mom would pick them up from school in. It's just not cool. They're just not cool cars.
Millions from pump and dumps, Ben Phillips suddenly buys his dream car, a quote, top of the fleet Rolls Royce. A month later, Ben is chartering private jets to Scotland for a birthday bite with his girlfriend of 3 years. He also can be seen bragging on Instagram about eating steak wrapped in 24-karat gold. Now, it should be noted, I'm not against people making money or promoting a product.
You seen the inside though? Yeah, we watched the whole thing on Rolls Royces.
Ben Phillips is profiting millions of dollars from publicly praising SafeMoon, saying he's holding SafeMoon, saying it's a good buy, while secretly selling it. He talked a lot during his pump and dump days about responsible versus irresponsible whales. He compares himself to a responsible one, someone who owns a lot of the token and isn't going to sell it suddenly. He contrasts this with irresponsible whales who sell suddenly. He says these people, they deserve the worst. In fact, on July 30th, 2021, when SafeMoon dipped, Ben said, "F***ing irresponsible whale. I hope you get hit by a bus." Now, lucky for Ben, his wish wouldn't come true because, of course, it turns out Ben was a irresponsible whale the exact month he was complaining about it. In fact, in the month of July, when he tweeted this, he was selling over $1 million of SafeMoon, lowering the price even further than it already was. But what are the final figures? How much did he make?
Is SafeMoon completely dead now?
Some fellow researchers to tally the total amount. And according to our calculations, he sold $16 million worth of SafeMoon, and it looks like he profited roughly $12 million. Now, will Ben get prosecuted for any of this? I don't know. Very few of these crypto cases get prosecuted, no matter how obvious it is. Just very few people pay a penalty. For example, a few months ago, Ice Poseidon admitted on tape to a massive scam, and nothing's happened to him yet. So I can't say what the future is for Ben, other than I've done my best to report these actions to the proper authorities, and you're welcome to look through the transaction data yourself below.
Diamond.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and all of this is allegation and opinion until proven otherwise.
Wait, so that's it? It's over? He's not going to prison.
Yeah, our work here is done. Now we let the actual authorities take it from here.
That sucks.
Or let an authority even stronger take it.
Right there in
Twitter.
front of everyone.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. It's messed up.
It sure is. Hey, did you reach out to Ben about all of this? I'd like to hear from him.
I did, but he didn't respond. I think he's too busy making more money with sick pranks.
Oh, you lost all your life savings? Whoops, it's just a prank, bro.
Oh, thanks. I
Thanks
needed
to
that.
Carrie.
This stuff gets really depressing after a while.
Ah, don't mention it. In fact, I want to show you something. I think it'll make you feel better.
Sure. What is it?
Let me clock out and I'll show you.
Whoa. I didn't even know this was up here. This is beautiful.
Damn.
Yep. This is
the production on this looking good.
Gives you perspective. You know, they're not all bad.
What? You mean people?
You sit in your room all day and talk about scammers. But take a
Tier
look
1
around,
Murray?
Coffee. There are good people out there.
Catalina?
Wait,
Tier 1
so you're
Z-Man.
saying I shouldn't worry about the scammers of the world?
No. I'm just saying, you can't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Look, I appreciate what you're trying to do here. You know, if you don't mind, I think I'm just going to stay up here a while.
Stay as long as you like, but I gotta go back and serve the good people of this city some ice-cold drinks.
Wow, these visuals are popping. Thanks, Resub Huff. Nice. Well, I'd never heard of Ben Phillips before, but fuck that guy.